Hi, welcome to Get a Clue Casual Gamer, where we get a clue, C-L-U-E, about a game, or in today's case, we're continuing my list of top 100 games. Um, Today we're looking at 71 through 80, or actually 80 down to 71. But I realized after I recorded the last list, I forgot to add something, and since I don't edit anything, I forgot to give you last year's list to compare it with. So let me just run down 90 to 81 real quick from my list from last year, and then that way you can compare that to the previous recording. 90 was Something Wild, the Peppermint Lane Santa Claus game. 89 was Gathering of the Wicked. 88 was Password. 87 was Pandemic. 86 was Machikoto. 85 was Clue, the Great Museum Caper. Number 84 was Planet. 83 was Hanabi. 82, Holiday Flux. And 81 was Take 5 and Take a Number, which is also 6 Nimmt. The original name for Take 5 is 6 Nimmt. So those were my 90 down to 81. Out of those, as of the time I made the list last year, there were 4 of them I had not played yet. In fact, one of them I had not played and did not own. Well, I didn't realize I owned it. I came across it in a box in my garage this year and was like, I forgot completely that like 15, 20 years ago, I had found one on eBay and bought it. And with all the many moves that my job has me making, I completely forgot that I had bought it. I remembered other things, but I had forgotten that. Cannot believe it. So I am the proud owner of Clue, the Museum Caper, to add to my Clue collection. And for those who might not know it, I fell in love with Clue when I was 9 years old. And so I tend to, for decades, have been collecting different Clue games. I don't need to have them all. The ones I have a special reason why I have it. So it's kind of, I don't need to have all the different IP ones, not really. But I have about 40. Anyway, including a Super Nintendo. Okay, so today's list is 90 down to 81. Let's get started. My 90, or did I just, yeah, no, my 80 to 71. Oh my gosh. My 80 to 71. I can't even remember if I mentioned it correctly at the very beginning or not. The title of this video will say it. So my number 80 is a game called Blank Slate. I believe it came out in 2022. If not, it was 2021, but it's the OP games. It's a party game. It plays 3 to 8 players, and it's a very, it's a casual level game because that's what I do here for the most part. But basically, the cards will have a blank something or something blank, kind of a la, what was that TV show back in the 70s and 80s, game show, where they used to fill in a blank, whatever. Well, anyway, so this is a blank house, and we have a brick, dog, haunted, play, full. I probably would have either said brick or dog. That shows my age. But basically, you're trying to, let's see, easy to learn, quick to play. How well can you put your finger on what everyone's thinking? You're trying to match someone. You're trying to match exactly someone else. So it's not necessarily what you would say but what you think other people would say so that you can match with them. It's, let me get it right side up this way. Blank slate is my number 80. Okay. My number 79 is Q-Birds. It's a little Q-Birds. It's an adorable set collection game. Let me move these over so you can see cards a little bit better. And you're going to be collecting similar birds. They're all cubic birds, yeah. And I think it's the first person who gets 3 full sets, and it's hard to get a set. It's not just getting 1, 2, 3. I got a set. No, you need to get a certain number of the type, like flamingos. A small group would be 2, a large one would be 3, and if you can get 2 or 3, then that makes a group. And once you make a group, you keep one of them and the others go into discard pile, and now you have 1 to go towards a full set. And so you have to do it multiple times to get a full set. Or and a set could also be a run, like, you know, 1 of 5 different birds or 3 of 1 bird. But it's hard to get those individual cards. So it's a cute game. It's an easy game. You're just drafting cards, hand manipulation, and set collection. Q-Birds, adorable. My 79. My 78 is a Christmas-themed game called Holly Jolly. It's by 25th Century. I actually like a lot of 25th Century games. I first found them when I was looking for Holly Jolly. I had heard about it on a video or something, and when I went to try and find it, I believe they were out of stock at the time, or maybe they were just in stock and that's the time I got it. But they only had like a handful because it was during COVID and their big shipment hadn't arrived yet, and so they only had a handful after having a couple cases drop shipped to them for a convention, and they had like a dozen left, so they put it on their website, and I happened to get it. But when I was on the website is when I found one of their other games, which I fell in love with as well, and it's probably higher up on this list, Kohaku. And so that's when I started checking out 25th Century's website, because they really didn't have a large presence anywhere else except their website. But now, in the last couple years, because they keep on coming out with new games, and they're well accepted games and good games. I have several now. They're getting to be known and recognized. They're based out of Atlanta, but Holly Jolly is obviously. Oh yes, I'm talking so now my nose is tickling. Yeah, you have cards that make up a tree, and some will have lights on them, some will have different ornaments on it, and you're trying to collect lights and ornaments dependent on what the requirement is to get points for them. For instance, if you get the engine of a toy train, it's 0 points unless you also get the caboose. And if you get the caboose of the train, then it's the pair of them is worth 8 points. So yes, things like that. Some things are, you just get tinsel, it's 5 points. But other things you have to get, group them together to get a certain number of points. And that is Holly Jolly. So you're just basically choosing ornaments or lights and stuff like that off of the tree to work up the most points possible. So it's got a little bit of thinkiness to it, but it's a great holiday, especially themed one. This comes out all the time at Christmas time. Love Holly Jolly. It's my number 78. My number 77 is Machikoro. Machikoro is I know they've come out with Machikoto 2, and which is supposed to be like a step up from Machikoto. I enjoy Machikoto. I really don't need to have Machikoto 2. I prefer to, rather than get a lot of something, I tend to, a lot of the same or whatever, or expansions even. I prefer to just buy more games, new games that have new themes to them and new ways of doing things. So I have not bought Machikoto 2, but people really like it. Machikoto, the original, my number 77, is something, a game that I would offer to someone or suggest to someone who has not played a lot of hobby games but likes Monopoly. Monopoly for me, I mean, it's a roll and move, and it's pretty cutthroat and such. And Machikoto, you have a flavor of the acquisition of properties, but it's not as cutthroat. It's actually a lot of the properties just give you stuff, but not only one or maybe two where you would get something from another player. Usually you just get it out of the bank. So it's not as cutthroat. You have an opportunity of building up a good collection of properties, and it's not like there's only one of each property. No, there's several. So several people can own, TV stations. Several people can own a bakery. So yeah, you got these. This is what the cards look like. This is you roll dice to find out what properties you could buy, and then they have their cost, and then they have their ability here. Like, get one coin from the bank, anyone's turn. If anyone rolls a 1, you just get a coin from the bank. So that's Machikoto. If you've never played it, it is a smooth, easy game. My number 77. My number 76 is number 9. Number 9 has chipboard, cube-ish shaped numbers. For instance, if you see back here, this is number 2. This is a 7, a 4, a 6, and a 9. Or is that a 9 and a 6? This is a 9, this is a 6. Okay, the dot is down there. What you're trying to do is you build a foundation with numbers that interlock and create a good solid foundation, and then you're able to put numbers on top of it like this, as long as there's a complete foundation underneath them. Now, you don't just pick up whatever number you want. There's a card flip. When you flip over the card, everyone gets one of those numbers and places it somewhere on their board, whether it's on the first level, second, third, fourth. The higher the level is, the more that number is worth. It's multiplied by 1, 2, it's 0 if it's on the foundation level, but it's multiplied by 1, 2, and 3 if you get higher up each floor. You multiply by one more number. So the goal is to try and get the higher numbers on the higher levels, because that multiplies them greatly. So that is number 9, which is my number 76. No, yes. It's like I played around with the numbers that Pub Meeple gave me. Okay. Oh, and I haven't been telling you, of course I have not been telling you, what number they were last year, because up to now, all but one of them was on my list last year. So we'll start with number 80, which was Blank Slate. That was the only one new to me up to now, today. And I got, because it came out last year. So I didn't have it to be on my list the previous year. So that was a new one. So it was not on my top 100 last year, but all the others have been. Number 79 was Q-Birds. It was number 29 last year and 79 this year. Number 78, Holly Jolly, was number 73 last year. So it really has held up pretty well because I really like the game. And it was 73 last year. Number 77, Machikoro, was 86 last year. So it actually has gotten higher on the list. I think because it is a simple game to get to the table, because if you explain to someone, well, it's kind of, if you like the buying property part of Monopoly, you'll probably prefer this. Yeah. And so I can kind of steer people towards our hobbies. That was number 77. Number 76, number 9 was number 92 last year. And I'm looking, let me look at here. 92 last year, and I had not played it yet. So yeah, 92 last year, 76 this year. It shows promise. And number 75 is where we are right now. We've just caught up. Number 75 was number 11 last year. And I think the only reason is that it's gone that far down, because I really, really like this game, is that it's hard to get it on the table. I might have played it once this year, and I really would love to play it far more times. And it's a beautiful game. I have the basic version. I do not have the deluxe version. The deluxe version is beautiful. The regular version isn't good. It's nice. It's pretty, but it's not gorgeous. Okay? Because the deluxe version costs twice as much as this one. This one, usually you can find it for about $40, and the deluxe version is $80. And I'm here going, yeah, no. If it was $20 and $40, that'd be a difference. About $40 and $80, I could buy one or two, and maybe on a really good sale, small games. I could even get 3 games for that amount. So I settled for the chipboard version and not the acrylic tile version. And the number 75 is Copenhagen. Copenhagen. This is a game where you are drafting cards to make sets so that you can buy the polyomino shaped pieces with windows and wall corners. Every piece has at least one non-windowed block. And basically you are trying to cover and create the front of your house in Copenhagen. You draft from the wharf, and I believe usually you have to take 2 that are next to each other, but there are some special tokens that you can get. You can get, there's different ways you can get these, but they also have special powers. For instance, one might be you can choose any 2 cards at the wharf. So you can take this one and that one if you want to. And, but yeah, basically you're collecting, you're drafting from here, you're using them to buy, using these cards to buy these shapes to put on your board and get points. Yeah, that is Copenhagen, or Copenhagen, however you want to pronounce it. It's a Queen games, and it's beautiful. Like I say, my pieces, these are chipboard. In the deluxe version, they are acrylic, and you can actually see through the windows. It's really pretty, but this is really pretty itself, and it is my number 75, and it was my number 11 last year. Wow, I really love this game, and it's gorgeous. Okay. Now this next game, my number 74. Ooh, I gotta change pages. This is one of the part of the list where I have to change page. Okay, numbers 74. Yeah, that was 75. 74. I had not played it. Well, no, I had played it before last year. Ooh, sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I had played it before, but I didn't own it until this year. I finally got a good sale, though. I do have a print and play version of this, but it's Save Dr. Lucky. Save Dr. Lucky is a sequel to a game called Kill Dr. Lucky. And, yeah, there's my, right over there is my Kill Dr. Lucky board. The store-bought one. I do have a cardstock one that I bought back in the early mid 90s. Sometime in the 90s, I bought Kill Dr. Lucky, and back when Cheap Ass Games, love that name. They've been bought out just this past year, but they had they created cheap games because they weren't these fancy boxes and everything. They were literally on cardstock. And the first ones they sent out were just in manila envelopes. I got my Kill Dr. Lucky in when they were in the cardboard envelope stage. So I have the cardboard envelope version. And I had that game and played it because it reminded me a little of Clue, but you're trying to kill Dr. Lucky. Then, and for their I think it was their 24th and a half, I think that was it, anniversary, they came out with a store-bought version. So I didn't have to only use the cardstock version. But then they later came out, and I have the print and play of this one. They came out with Save Dr. Lucky. Now, instead of being in a mansion, you're now in a ship, and it's sinking. And so you need to get Dr. Lucky up from there's 4 levels in this ship, and you have, as before the water rises in each level, you have to try and get him up to the next level, and so that you're trying to save him from drowning. And so yeah, the board looks like this. I'll hold it like this. This is one board. There are actually 4 separate boards, and as it starts sinking, you pull out the lowest one and it's gone. So it's kind of like you really do need to get everyone out of there. And it's for me, it's kind of, it has that Clue-ish feel to it. So, and I fell in love with Clue at age 9, so that's why I was drawn to it. And it is a cool game. I mean, I can't remember if this one's cooperative or not. I know Kill Dr. Lucky is not. Okay, you have one goal: to save Dr. Lucky's life while someone else is watching. Okay, so you're trying to save him, but you can only save him if someone else can see you. And that means they need to be in the same room with you, or in a room that has a door that opens up to the same room that you're in. And it's plays 3 to 7 players. And if you like the Clue type of mechanism and everything, you really should try Kill Dr. Lucky and Save Dr. Lucky. And Kill Dr. Lucky was probably higher on my list, but that'll come up in another video. Number 73 is 5211. It's a card game, pure card game, cool cards. 5211 is presented to us by the same company that gives us Azul and Bees and where is it? Maui and Azul, Bees, I know there's 1 or 2 other well-known games that they've done. But if you notice, they all have 4 letters, or in this case, 4 numbers in their name. Azul, A-Z-U-L. 4 numbers, 4 letters. This being my number 73, you play your cards, you're trying to go over a certain limit, and then you score your points. It is a pure card game, but you're bluffing, you're trying to guess what other people are doing, and there's a little bit of strategy in there. And there is a Azul pattern version of this 5211, and it makes sense because it's the same company, so they can get away with that using the same artwork from Azul tiles for the cards instead of this unusual abstract looking art. But anyway, so 5211 is my number 73. Last year it was my 157. Yeah, it was my 157. I'm going to jiggle this table a minute while I look that up for a sec. 157. I had not played it yet. So once I played it, it zoomed up to 73. Like more than half of its numbers pushed forward. It's a light game, but has that little bit of bluffing and strategy in it. So, it's not like just Uno or, Go Fish. There's more to it, but still on the light end of gaming. My number 72. Okay, I mentioned at the beginning of the first video that there were 4 games on this list of my top 100 that were more complicated than casual level. For casual level, I consider light and light medium, or medium light, however they want to phrase it on Board Game Geek's website. This game is one of those that is in the medium level. There's a medium hard, and then a hard. So this is not, in the ultra hard ones, but it does take some getting used to. And it is a cooperative game, though, so that's good. That helps. And it's the loop. In it, you have this Dr. Foe is using a time machine, and he's going back to different times, and causing havoc. And you need to, as a group, put out the fires that he starts, all these problems that he's starting, and try and reset and get copies of him out of history. The board looks like this, and you'll have your own cards with your own powers. This is a plastic piece that goes in there where you put these little cubes in, and they'll fall out in one of 3 places. And if you have too many of them fall into one space, it causes too much havoc. And what we're trying, the goals we're trying to achieve and flip over will then go away, and we will be even in worse shape than before. So our goal is to stop Dr. Foe from messing around with history and future. Let's see, what their description. Who can stop Dr. Foe? An evil scientist is laying waste to time and space, and it's up to you and your friends to restore balance to the galaxy. And it's a quirky cooperative game where we have to unite to battle the evil Dr. Foe. We are temporal agents. That's what we are in this game. But it is a medium level game, so it's definitely not for newbies. You want to have somebody who plays hobby games and have that set up to help guide it, maybe. Or if you're all gamers, then you should be able to make it through pretty well. I played it at the first time at Dice Tower Retreat, not last year, but the previous year. Last year, I had it up as number 23 on my list last year, and I had played it. It's 72 this year. I'm not surprised just because it is a medium level. It's impossible for me to find someone to play it with. So it's kind of like it's been pushed down the line by games that I've been able to bring to the table and have fun with. My dog is apparently seeing something out the window in the front of the house because while I'm here, she's on bed looking out the window and she's whining and now coming to me. Aggie, are you okay? All done. Okay, all done. Good girl. And my number 71. It was new to me this year, so it was not on my list last year. And it's a roll and write called Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. I got it especially because I play a lot of solo games, and this has a really good solo mode. In fact, it's even probably better and more diverse if you have the solo mode. Hold on a second. Hey, quiet. Good girl. So, Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. In it, you will roll dice, and then they have different items on it: food, wood, stone, and sometimes you have a wild. And one die that will tell you how many steps you are allowed to use. This one says 4, so I could X out a wood, a stone, and a food, and something that was free, that didn't cost any resources. And there you can combine, you can build bridges that will take you to other areas that have more resources to collect. And you can build houses which or buildings that will give you an extra resource every turn and things like that. There's 2 pads of paper, and you'll use one of each for every game. And that is it. It's not the easiest of roll and writes, which would be something like Quicks. But it's also not as complicated like the heavier ones, like, Hadrian's Wall or even Three Sisters. It is a casual level and really pretty easy to pick up and play at any time. So those are my 80 to 71 this year. Now, I've told you what numbers those games were last year, but I'll give you my list of 80 to 71 from last year. Now, one thing I notice here is something that I did not allow this year because of my huge collection of Clue games. This list has a lot of them on there mixed in depending on which kind it was. This time I only allowed wherever the first Clue version showed up on my list, that's where I placed Clue and got rid of all the other clues on the list and bumped things up instead of having, 5 or 6 different clues in my top 100. So last year, my number 80 was Clue, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. It's one of those Disney versions that I bought on property. So that was my number 80. And yes, I had played it. The next 3 I had not played before, and they were on my list. 2 of them I have played this year. So, but number 79 is Gingerbread House, which is this one right here, a Phil Walker Harding game. Number 78 was Seven Wonders Duel. Yeah, it's around here. And I have played it. 77 is Point Salad. I love Point Salad. I'm hoping that it shows up closer up on this list because I had not played it last year and it was 77 last year. 76 was Catan. Very traditional modern classic hobby game. Number 75, I had not played it. I have played it this year, though, and it was New York 1901, and it is a cool game. I'm hoping it shows up on my list. I don't think it has yet, though, but I'm hoping it does. 1901, New York 1901. Number 74 was Biblios Quill and Parchment, which is a roll and write version of Biblios, the original game, but Biblios Quill and Parchment is a great roll and write, great for solo playing. If you are a solo player of roll and writes, that's a good one. Number 73 was Holly Jolly, so it was in the same section as this year. And number 72 was Kill Dr. Lucky, talking about all that then. And number 71 was Clue, the Haunted Mansion, which is, again, another one of the Disney versions of Clue. And those were my 80 to 71 last year. To recap this year, 80 was Blank Slate, 79 Q-Bird, 78 Holly Jolly, 77 Machikoro, 76 Number 9, 75 Copenhagen, number 74 Save Dr. Lucky, 73 5211, 72 The Loop, 71 Imperial Settlers Roll and Write. And have a wonderful week. God bless you and your family. Happy gaming. Bye.